Well, hello, Slurds. I've got a little announcement for you. The Cheers to Comics podcast is now proudly affiliated with nsclivetv.com. That's No Signal Comics. nsclivetv.com. And what is nsclivetv.com? I'll tell you. It is an all-around comic book channel. You go to this website, nsclivetv.com, and you're going to be given all of these options and different channels. For instance, the Cheers to Comics podcast, I believe, is channel 34. So, yes, we're one of the first podcasts on there, but as far as other comic book needs, everything from live auctions to other distributors, and I mean, it is an all-around comic book website for collectors and enthusiasts and readers alike. So, once again, Cheers to Comics is super stoked to be affiliated with nsclivetv.com, and I think you should check it. I know you should go check it out. Links are all in the description, but yeah, it's easy. nsclivetv.com. Your home for the best in auction action. Well, hello again, Slurds, and welcome back to the Cheers to Comics podcast. I am your host, Brian Wayne, and this is episode 58. This week I will be raising my glass to the books that were released on the 27th of November 2019, as well as talking about other things relevant to the world of comic books. So, full disclosure, this is a spoiler-based podcast, but I have prepared you for such occasions by leaving timestamps in the description, so if there's something that you're not quite ready to have spoiled for you yet, or you just want to completely go into it without any of my insight at all, then bam, I leave you the means there. The other thing I gotta warn you about is on account of how non-refined my linguistical palate may be, I say a lot of unfiltered bad words. Bad words sometimes. So, if you've got sensitive ears, you've been warned. Without further ado, let's talk about comic books just a little bit. This is my first recording since Thanksgiving, so been fun. Big stuff happened last week. The Rob Guillory Creator Corner episode went up. I'm very, very, very excited about that. And it seems to already be leading into bigger things for this podcast, so very, very grateful for that. If you haven't heard it, go back, listen to it, listen to all of my coverage on Chew, and yeah, there's that happened, and then, of course, yeah, it was a great fucking week. It was a great week. I've got some big stuff planned for the month of December, y'all. As soon as I'm done recording this podcast, I'm going to start getting all prepared for another Creator Corner. We're going to have Charles Stickney on the podcast this month. Chuck Brown is coming on the podcast. If you're not aware of Chuck Brown, you're going to be, because this guy is a big deal in indie comics, and he's going to talk about a Marvel project that he got in on too. So that's something to get excited for this month. I'm on the line with a couple of other ones. I don't want to, until dates are official, I'm not going to say any names, but I will say that we got some more Marvel creators coming on. A fella that, I've talked about quite a bit this year. May in fact be my book of the year writer. I don't know. I'll tell you more later on. So a little bit of anticipation to lead into it. As far as news goes, let's talk a little bit of news. Frank Miller pissed off China. So that's going on right now. Apparently they don't like the term golden child. They think that his DC's ad they put up may be kind of reflective of some propaganda, pro-Democrat type of situations. I don't do politics, so this is all Chinese to me. Good uns. But no, I don't know. I think it's hilarious that the Chinese are pissed off about an American comic that may or may not depict something that I don't fucking know. You know what? Fuck you, China. So, all right, that's the news. Let's get into some overviews. Good stuff this week, y'all. I will say this is probably going to be a shorter podcast because, yes, admittedly, I did take some time on Thanksgiving, take some reading time, and put that actually towards eating. So I was one of the fat Americans that I was bitching about a couple podcasts prior to Thanksgiving. So yeah, so a little bit of my reading time was carved out, but at the same time, there really wasn't a very thick stack. So yeah, I do apologize if you're expecting a 90-minute podcast out of this. It's probably not gonna happen. But yeah, there's other stuff to go back and listen to fill your day, I promise. Let's get on with it. So, these are the books that were released on the 27th of November 2019. I'm going to start with DC Comics this week. We've got Detective Comics. Detective Comics number 1016. Peter J. Tomasi, Doug Mankey, Tyler Kirkham, Christian Almay, Keith Champagne, Mark Irwin, and David Baron, covered by Mankey and Baron. Alright, we've got more Mrs. Freeze action. This Detective Comics, after this week, has solidified my back and forthness of whether or not it is currently... it's easily the best Batman book out there, but I think it's the best current DC run going on right now, too, and let me tell you all about it. Alright, so... Batman and Mr. Freeze have teamed up at this point, and they both have a common interest in taking down Nora, Mrs. Freeze. Lex seems to think that Nora's way of thinking has been disrupted because of the serum that Lex gave him, allowing her to become alive again. But her noggin's all fiddled with. And that's on account of part of the serum that Lex gave to Victor. It had something to do with this B-Zero experiment, and that was Lex Luthor's a failed Lex Luthor project back in the day when he was creating these Kryptonian clones. And yes, everything about it was unstable, but nevertheless, here you go, Victor Freeze, figure it out. Meanwhile, Nora, she's at a museum just fucking shit up. But Batman and Mr. Freeze, they show up, and Doug Mankey's art in this. Batman's Sub-Zero suit, I don't know what you call it, Above Zero suit. I don't know. It's badass. It is. It's super badass. And seeing the two of them together, whew. I know I'm talking about visuals on a podcast. This is why you go get the book. I can only provide so much of this stuff. That's why I feel comfortable doing these overviews without spoiling it for the creators, taking any of the oohs and ahs out of it. There's still a lot to enjoy without me spoiling it for you. Anyways, continuing on. So, Batman, he's got this thermal rope, kind of reminds me of the Lasso of Truth a little bit, but he's got it all over Nora, and Freeze is like, hey, no, motherfucker! And, well, in the most Victor Freeze of fashions, he goes back on his word against Batman, and he's like, nah, I know I said that, I'd help you team up, and I'd turn myself in as long as I could be in a cell next to her and convince her, and blah, 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 but... psych. What's actually gonna happen is I'm gonna take her and I'm gonna fix her myself. So, peace out, Batman. They take off, and Nora Freeze, you think for a second, she's like, oh shit, you know what? I think that was pretty cool of you, Victor. I don't know why she's Southern right now. But she kind of goes in, looking like for a kiss, like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. Bam, stabs him in the motherfucking neck with his own serum. And, well, at this point, he's warming up he's warming up real good. That's not a good thing. And, well, essentially he's dying. And she says, look, as long as you're around, I'm always going to be a prisoner of your love. I did almost fall for you right now. Like, it's not how I want to roll. I just want to be this evildoer, and you're trying to make me all straight edge and not killy. I don't like that. My noodle's all messed up. He's dying. She gets away, and Batman shows up because that's what Batman does. You know, he may have gotten frozen or whatever, but he's got super not freezy suit. So I think that's what the suit should be called. He gets freeze to safety, but unfortunately, in a turn of irony, he's in a containment tube, just like Nora had been for all of these years. So he's alive, but is he? Man, this is this is crazy shit. This is crazy shit. I'm telling you, this is the best ongoing DC book out there. The next best ongoing DC book out there, though, and it does go back and forth, but as of this week, this is what it is. It's Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond number 38. Dan Jurgens. Oh shit, I didn't write down the Chen, Parsons, and Sotomayor. Sorry, I didn't get the first names written down on that one. I just kind of dove right in. I got all excited on my notepad. And let's see if I can make out the signature on the cover here. Elizabeth. Something. Ah, shit. Sorry, y'all. But fact is, it's an amazing book. You got the mystery of the who is the Batwoman, the Neo Batwoman. Last issue, Matt and Bruce, they both had their own hypotheses. And let's start with Bruce. He thought it was Barbara Gordon. So he meets her on, the commissioner. Yes, she's the commissioner in Neo Gotham now. Meets her on the roof, and it's pretty well established. No, she ain't it. Wrong. Bruce Wayne, you wrong. Meanwhile, Matt, he goes and visits his lead, the person that he thinks is most likely to be Neo Batwoman, and that's Melanie Walker, or I think, what was she, 10? I think was her hero name, anti-hero name. So yeah, no, not her either. Now it comes down to, they still don't know who it is. Yes, the speculation is that it's Nightwing's daughter. I forget her name. But yeah, and at this point, yeah, all the more reason to believe that is the case, because the two most likely suspects have been told no. Meanwhile, what the fuck's happening with Terry? Terry, he's just slumming around with this street rat girl, and on account of he doesn't remember anything, because Falseface is dead, and Falseface had Terry's face, and when he has someone's face, the person whose face is being taken over by Falseface loses their memories. So there can't be, two people that, even though they may look alike, they're not necessary. They don't have the same type of, yeah. So that's what's going on there. He doesn't have his memories. He's cruising around with this homeless girl that steals. She's female Aladdin, but in Neo Gotham, and Barbara, she tracks down Terry. Because, he doesn't realize why, he's being tracked down. But Barbara's like, oh, shit, there's that motherfucking Batman. So Terry and What's-Her-Face, they run away. And then we realize that What's-Her-Face is more than just some street girl. She actually has connections to Derek Powers, who is the former head of Powers Tech. Also known as Blight. And if you know anything about Blight is the motherfucker that killed Terry's parents. Ooh. So, yes, Blight breaks into the Batcave. Batwoman responds. I think in the next issue we're going to find out who Neo Batwoman is, because she is in the Batcave. She's going after Blight. Bruce and Matt are like, oh shit, someone broke into the Batcave. And then they see on the security cameras, oh, that's Batwoman. Why's she breaking in here? And Bruce says, no, I think she's responded to something worse. And then that's when we get the Blight is alive, because Blight was thought to be dead. And, yes, great book. DC is killing it this week. Just absolutely killing it. let's keep this DC going. Let's move on to Shazam. Shazam number 8. Now this book, it's back. It's been behind, but boy, is it back. Jeff Johns, Scott Collins filling in on the art here, Michael Atiyeh doing the covers, Dale Eaglesham and Michael Atiyeh doing the cover though. So, Eugene and Pedro, they're all up in the Wizunderlands. And no, this is not Ebonics, that's what it's that's what it's called, the Wizunderlands. But while they're in the Wizunderlands, they're realizing that, they have this weird creature chauffeur of sorts showing them around and explaining, look, you're powerless right now, and the reason behind that is because there's a disturbance in Billy's heart. And when that happens, yes, the other people whose powers are connected to him are going to be tampered with. Well, he also explains there's 7 magic lands, and we're going to need a 7th champion. We've got, who do we have here? Let's see if I can, we've got Mary, Billy, Eugene, Pedro, Darla, and Freddy. Cool, I did it. But who's the 7th? We're going to find out in this issue, y'all. So, this is all being explained. And, we need a ruler of the Magic Lands. Meanwhile, what's happening with the bad guys? The bad guys, we've got Dr. Savannah and Black Adam. They're kind of teamed up, and they know that Billy's dad, they're stalking him in the distance and shit. And they know that he's the key to something. He's the key to something. Well, while Billy's dad's out wandering around, he's kind of sad that he doesn't think Billy wants to be there, but it turns out Billy, he's busy. He's down in the Darklands, and he's looking for Darla and Freddy. And before he meets Darla and Freddy, Billy runs into the Ghost of Champions. And that's a whole little kind of thing going on within itself there. Once again, stuff you're going to have to read, but so fucking interesting. Well, back to Adam and Savannah. Black Adam doesn't necessarily trust Dr. Savannah at all. So this is where Mr. Mind steps in. And Mr. Mind is the brain behind this whole scheme being plotted out against Billy and Billy's dad and, all of this stuff. Well, in order to kind of ease Black Adam's reluctancy, he says, hey, here are the 7 sins. And if you're not familiar with the 7 sins, there are these oogly boogly creatures that all represent, the 7 sins. See the Shazam movie. And so now Black Adam, he's got the 7 sins. Crazy shit, if he wasn't powerful enough. But at the same time, we also realize within these pages is that Mr. Mind's still being a little fucking prick, and he has ulterior motives, and bleh. Yeah. Well, so Black Adam, he does get to Billy's dad. He's tracking him down, but Billy shows up, and he interferes. And in doing so, Billy's dad, he's like falling from a building or something like that, and Billy yells out, say the magic words. And he's like, what the fuck's the magic words? He's like, Shazam, and he says Shazam, and then boom. Billy's dad gets all Shazammed, and he becomes the 7th champion. And god damn, this is setting up some good shit. I think it's perfectly fine that Jeff Johns is taking a while on this story, because this stuff, it resonates so well. I don't have to go back and do any rereading. He does such a good job of reminding us of what we should be retaining, and it's easy to retain because it's well written. It's I'm loving all of this stuff. I think Shazam is, I said way back in the beginning of this podcast that Shazam is one of my most recommended DC books, and I still stand by that. I think this book is amazing. So, I had 3 DC books this week. It was good stuff, man. It really was. I'm excited to talk about Marvel now, though. There are some Marvel books that, oh yeah, let's do this. We've got Avengers. Avengers number 27. Legacy 727, if that's how you count it. Alright, Jason Aaron, Ed McGuinness, Mark Morales, and Jason Keith on the art team. Ed McGuinness and Val Staples did the cover. I know. After the last Avengers issue, I said, I might skip an Avengers arc, despite the fact it's Jason Aaron, and, I don't really have any interest in Starbrand and that whole whatever, and the weird history caveman lore thing really threw me for a loop. So I thought, nah, I'll miss one. But when I see that this is actually the beginning of the arc, and that last issue was just kind of a prelude, I thought, okay, it's Jason Aaron. I should give it a shot. Well, as it turns out, it's Jason Aaron, and you should be reading this arc, because despite my lack of interest in Starbrand still, he knows how to write an entertaining comic book. So, let's get on with this. Avengers in space. This is what's happening. There's been a signal detected, and Captain America believes it to be linked to the Starbrand. So we've got a guest Avenger. Gotta love her. Black Widow. So yeah, this is Black Widow in space. I fucking love this, man. She's an Avenger again temporarily, and it's very, she establishes this is not gonna be a permanent thing. I like that Jason Aaron keeps bringing in temporary Avengers. I'm not going to lie. I thought Blade would have been gone a long time ago. Not the case. He's lasted, 27 issues? Something like that. I'm not sure. I don't remember if he popped up in the first one or not. I really don't. But I think he popped up in 700. Yeah, I believe so. Fact is, the dude knows how to bring in make a new Avenger and bring in an old Avenger and make it seem interesting. So yes, Black Widow, she's on this mission, go to space. Well, they get to this prison, and where the signal was originally detected. And when they get there, you see a few days have passed, and it's not necessarily going as smoothly as planned. Our Avengers are all split up on different teams doing different things. We'll start out with our She-Hulk and Thor. And this, so they get all brooded. Yeah, man, so the Brood are taking over here. This is, you gotta know what the Brood are. This is a bad, evil creature thingy. It's a whole, just wiki it, Google it. It's worth a Google. But yeah, no, the Brood are taking over. So now we see a Brood Hulk, Brood Thor, and scary shit. Well, Captain America, he's struggling. He's trying to get the team together and fight the will and all this stuff. Shit's not going well up there at all. I still don't know where the fuck the Starbrand thingy came from, and yeah. Well, meanwhile, Captain Marvel, because she's an Avenger now, she went off and she did some old thing, and by doing some old thing, I mean she stole the Starjammer ship. So now she arrives and just in time to save everyone as the Brood are really starting to fuck shit up. But the coolest thing about it all is that in order to get the Starjammer ship, she went into a white hole. And in doing so, she went binary. So now her head's on motherfucking fire. So she looks like Ghost Rider and shit, but like a white fire? It's fucking nuts, man. What is a white hole? What is a white hole? Is this a... Oh, I'm gonna go on a weird rant. Never mind. So her head's on fire. Trying to make sure that Captain America and his human ass is all alive. Meanwhile, there's still more Avengers to talk about. Yeah, I know. Blade's still a thing. He's around. Robbie Reyes, he's back. He had a little arc down in hell. Thought that was gonna last longer, but instead, I'm glad he's back. But Black Widow. So they're all rolling around in the Hell Charger in space, and they're being chased by something. And the thing that they're being chased by is a motherfucking Silver Surfer. The motherfucking Silver Surfer. Oh yeah. dude, I was gonna skip this book. Fuck. I still don't. I mean, yeah, granted, they didn't really mention the Star Brand much once they got into it, and they said this is the mission, and it's just fail, 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 fail. And I think I respect chaos in comics. I do. Just like when it's a big snowstorm and I see people trampling over each other to get, for the last quart of skim milk because that's all that's left. I enjoy that. So watching the beloved Avengers scramble for their lives in so many different levels, they're losing not as a team right now, and I don't know. It's just the weird, cynical side of me. So, Avengers, highly recommended. Still, I was gonna skip this. Jesus, I'm such a fucking idiot. Keep it going. Keep it going. Fallen Angels, number 2. This arc is called, or issue is called Shoto, still from Brian Hill, Simon Kurdansky, so you're reading it for that alone. Frank Dormata's colors on Kurdansky's art is so good. Ashley Witter did the cover. Alright, so I could actually explain this one pretty quick. The good thing about this is that there's a lot of art to enjoy. The story in itself, it's very well told, but it's one kind of thing happening over 20 pages. I don't know, that doesn't... so essentially what's going on here is Psylocke, or Quanon now, has been separated from old Beth, is with X-23 and Cable, and they're searching for Apoth. I don't know, but yeah, searching for this guy, and they have reason to believe that he's the guy circulating this overclock, which is his weird tech drug, and yeah, he's bad. Well, Cable has this lead on an island called São Mateus, and he thinks that Apoth has a bunch of kids there, fucking manufacturing this shit for him. Well, for whatever reason, Psylocke says, we're not gonna do that. We got bigger leads to look for. I was like, oh, okay, I'm a fucking cold ass bitch. Right on. Well, she goes into some weird, she has a bunch of the flashback sequences, I guess, of her as a younger age. And all of a sudden she gets a change of heart, and next thing you know, we've got Psylocke and Cable and X-23 on the island of São Mateus, and they, okay, all right, I get you. Let's do this. Maybe not fuck those kids. Maybe we help save those kids, because I was a kid once, and yeah, now they got to face down a giant machine thingy. So I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. It's I think out of all the X-Men books out there, the X titles, this one seems the most self-contained. The other ones seem to all be kind of weaving in and out of each other. But this one, I can't really think of anything in here that, I don't know. I mean, Mr. Sinister's in here, and that's kind of what sends Quanon into the flashback sequence, if I remember correctly. But other than that, I mean, I don't think that's enough to say that, you had to read something else to understand why that is. I mean, as long as you read House and Powers, I think you can get what's going on in this book. And these are really all characters that weren't even in House and Powers, so yeah, I don't know. Fallen Angels, cool as shit. Another Dawn of X book. We've got X-Force number 2. Alright, I dug this one. Benjamin Percy, Joshua Cassara, and Dean White. Dustin Weaver did the cover. I thought I was gonna drop this one. I wasn't sure how attached I was to the first issue, even though the team seemed very interesting. In the long run, I thought, well, this might be a slow burn, and then bam, they killed Xavier. And I thought, okay, that changes some things. So, going through this, I mean, these books are very dense. If I were to go through every bit of detail, keep in mind, I'd bore you for one, and I still like to leave, some shit to surprise and imagination at the same time. But the major touching points here is in the beginning we get a dialogue between Magneto and Jean Grey, and Magneto, well, he's rushing Jean. you should, be trying to save Xavier, because without him, this is gonna be a weird type of mecha that we just created, and he's kind of the spine behind it all. So, or I mean, really the brain, I guess. So, well, yeah, we get that dialogue. So, essentially, we're kind of, how would I put this? They're confirming the fact that Xavier is dead. Again, in this book. Yes, if you're reading the other books, they've confirmed it, but not in this series. So I guess they do kind of make sure. Yeah, I guess they do make it so you don't necessarily have to be reading these other books, like the tangent I just went on a second ago. I guess it depends on who's writing. I don't know. Well, anyways, we have a suspect as to who killed Xavier, and even a possible how. So the Reavers, they're these bad people. And they, as far as the how goes, they think maybe they infiltrated the Sokovian Treaty ceremony. And maybe there was a false plane crash with some false identities maybe reported. And that provided a distraction for them to get in and maybe shoot Xavier in the face? I don't know. Did he get shot in the face? No, he was actually poisoned. Some like cakes or crackers or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, so now let's get to the team. What's going on with the team? We've got Wolverine and Sage and Black Tom Cassidy. Well, they get to where Domino should be, because originally their mission is to get to Domino because she's missing. She got captured by this weird cultist, blah, blah, blah. Well, when they get to where Domino should be, Sage and Black Tom have this person of interest all tied up, and Wolverine goes to jump on him, and he's gonna, stab torture him. The classic claw until they talk scenario. So, Sage and Black Tom don't think that's a good idea. Wolverine says, well, bub, if, you don't like it this way, I'm going to go figure some shit out the other way, because this guy's not talking. And me being Wolverine, I'm going to go to the science-y place and maybe try to figure some shit out, because that's what Wolverine would do. So Wolverine goes to the science-y place, but guess who's in the science-y place? Someone that actually belongs in the science-y place. Somebody already on the case, Kid Omega. What's his name? Quentin Quire himself. So he's in the lab, and we get the fun dialogue between the Wolverine and the Kid Omega, and yeah. Meanwhile, I realize that Phineas Hook is the person that Domino was after, and Phineas Hook is this weird hacker guy, and yeah. Well, while they're in there getting this information, Omega and Wolverine, they're attacked by these weird human experiment things that were in these containment tubes. So they're running away, and Omega's finding that somehow his powers are dampened while he's in this facility, and that's not good when you need to fight. So, yeah. Well, while they're running through there, they find Domino. And that's super cool. But the thing is that she's also all fucked up in a containment tube of her own, and not looking so Domino-like. She looks kind of, how you say, skinned alive in certain parts of her body. It's fucking gnarly, man. Or maybe, I don't know, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like muscle tissue was exposed, because that's what the things that are, the human things that are attacking Wolverine and Kid Omega look like. Fucking pretty horrific, man. I dig it. I didn't think I'd be into this book, and it's turning out to have maybe one of the stronger of the issue 2s out of all of them so far, I think, as far as story goes. Definitely the biggest bounce back, that's for damn sure. So I'm gonna keep going with X-Force, that's for sure. Let's talk about the last Marvel book of the week. We're talking Venom number 20. This is the last little bit of the Absolute Carnage story. Donny Cates, Iban, Coelho, Zay, Carlos, and Rain Barreto, covered by Kyle Holtz and Dan Brown. Alright, so this is a whole lot of Maker. And before I get into the story of this, I gotta say the Maker without his helmet, that's not just a fancy helmet, y'all, in case you aren't aware. That's actually the shape of his fucking brain. I mean, he is a Reed Richard from an alternate universe. And that we will get into very shortly, because that plays a huge part of all of this. So, Maker, he's having this dialogue with something, it's kind of like a force projection of some sort. And all you're seeing is goatee and beard. And he's going on, and this is big. This is a big realization about the symbiote universe. So Maker, via surveillance footage, sees Dylan exercising his abilities. And by abilities, that's psychically demolishing a little carnage symbiote creature thing with his fucking brain. Psychically. So he finds this interesting and starts, and he realizes that throughout all this, the history of symbiotes, that the respawning, or spawning, I guess, if you will, has thought to be completely sporadic and random. Well, Dylan's little fit, if you will, kind of puts things into a pattern, and Maker realizes that these new symbiotes being born it's not out of randomness. It is out of it's a protective thing. They spawn out of protection. When they sense a threat, boop, they birth a little baby. And so Dylan is some weird hybrid thing. Still doesn't know exactly what he is. Maker realizes he's special, but also realizes that he popped up, or he got his powers right around the time of a major possible threat coming about. So and he thought maybe Carnage was that threat. Little does he know it's probably Null is the reason why. I don't know, man. This is it still leaves a lot to question, but at the same time gives us a crazy insight as to Dylan is a badass motherfucking character, and he's a lot bigger than just being Eddie's son. That's for sure. So, Maker it's revealed who he's talking to. Maker is talking to the Council of Reeds. And, you get a bunch of Reeds from a bunch of different universes, and they're explaining to Maker, look, you're going to be on this council. None of us have ever failed, so we're really kind of counting on you. And what are they counting on him for? Well, Maker has synthetically formed his own symbiote of sorts that's going to allow him to go through this, traverse time, I guess, and go into his own homeworld and restore all that. So, he's trying to restore all the homeworlds of all the Reeds, I guess. So that's what's going on there, but a symbiote somehow is going to be involved. So that's how that ties in. So I find that to be really, really cool. I'm not sure, there's so many cool things that this whole Venom Donny Cates world is spinning. But beyond all that, we go over to Dylan and old Eddie. And essentially, we get that realization of the father moment, and it's all heartwarming. And Eddie, he's kind of preparing. He's warning everybody. Look, it may seem like everything's hunky-dory right now, but I did do something very, very selfish, and I chose my son over the world. And Nola's coming, so y'all motherfuckers better be getting prepared. So this is Venom. This is Venom. I fucking love this book, man. It is still one of the best Marvel books out there. Top 2 for sure. Top 2 for show. So that's all I got for Marvel on my overviews this week, y'all. I do have an indie though. I have a single solitary indie book to talk about. Killadelphia, #1, Rodney Barnes, Jason Sean Alexander, and Luis NCT. Covered by Jason Sean Alexander. Alright. This is a #1 quick overview. I will say that the story and the manner it's told, in which it's told, is very poetic, and it all ties together very nicely from beginning to end. But if I were to sit here and try to discuss the details with you, you would unsubscribe to this podcast, because there's no way I can do Rodney Barnes' writing any justice. I mean, without going verbatim and being a professional voice actor of such, because it is a very strong first issue. But essentially, this is what you need to know about this book. We've got this family of detectives. We're in this new generation. They're the youngest generation of detectives, and the one believes, his father's dead. And, how and who and why and what is all part of this very intricate story and being told in the first issue. What's going on here is this one particular detective is investigating some murder scenes. These murder scenes are all involving these very crazy bite patterns. And, it's bite patterns of, a human mouth. So, if you were to read the synopses, it mentions vampires and whatnot, but, these are human mouth. These aren't werewolf bites and goblin bites of any, it's not even zombie bites for that matter, because they're just bite marks. They're not taking hunks out of anyone. So, yes. Well, throughout all of this, they're discovered in these human corpses with these bite marks. So we've got some yellow fever going on here. The yellow fever. Well, this is rare. This is big news. This is not good. Well, yeah, this is what's going on here. This yellow fever is kind of maybe going to be the catalyst to this vampire outbreak. Because if you're flipping through this book, you see all these, I don't know, these vampires are definitely involved. And, I know this is a spoiler-based podcast, but a lot of times on these indie number ones, I do try to leave a lot to the imagination at the same time. Because, you gotta read this stuff for yourself. And Rodney Barnes, to my recollection, this is the first time I've read his work, and I gotta say, wow. Really, really good. Jason Sean Alexander, if you're not familiar, this Spawn, he's doing motherfucking Spawn. How you gonna be doing all these books, Jason Sean Alexander, and be doing them so fucking good? You're killing it. The colors over top, Luis NCT. Yo, this was a great indie. I know there was only one this week. It was a thin stack. But, yeah, that wraps up my overviews, y'all. It was good stuff for sure. Before I get on to the honorable mentions, I'm going to refill my coffee mug here and leave you with this.
Hey, this is Ken M.
Padawan J.
Coach Duffy.
From the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour podcast. Every week, the ODPH is talking sports, movies, TV, comics, and more. It's always a parlay of topics on each episode. You can find the ODPH on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and wherever you find great podcasts, such as the one you're listening to right now. Don't forget to check out OchoDuroParlayhour.com, where you can find the links to all of the ODPH social media accounts, links to the bands whose music you hear each week on the show, hashtag 607 podcast info, and parlay points, our companion blog section of the show. Thanks for listening to the ODPH. Now get back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
All right, I'm back. Let's get on with these honorable mentions, huh? These honorable mentions. What's an honorable mention on the Cheers to Comics podcast? Well, I'll tell you. If you're not familiar, this is not necessarily the stuff that falls below par or anything like that. This may be stuff that I couldn't find enough talking points about to fill 2 or 3 minutes. Or maybe it's just something I'm kind of waiting to collect. Maybe I got it out of speculation. I don't know. But these are the honorable mentions, and I'm going to start with the indies. Rick and Morty, Dungeons & Dragons, Chapter 2, Issue number 3. Yeah, this story's still fucking incredible. Jim Zub's killing it, and I don't know what to say. It's great. All of these crazy Ricks that Rick created are invading Morty and Summer and Jerry and all of them, and yeah, shit's getting fucked up. You gotta love it. Let's see here. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, I'll tell you why I didn't read this book. is because for whatever reason, the shop only ordered cover, or didn't have enough cover A's. I got my cover B. Very, very grateful I got cover B. And I'll talk about that later. But I've also stated that on this particular book, I will not be fondling it on account of how shiny it is. So, and I'm not going to read this book digitally. So I've got to wait for the cover A's to come in for me to get caught up on Power Rangers. Because, like I said, I'm not touching this book. I'm not going to wear gloves. And I'm not gonna read it digitally. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a shame because I'm really interested in what happened in Power Rangers. Because I'm finally starting to understand the Omega Ranger situation. So, what are you going to do? New Mutants. Yeah, New Mutants. Probably not going to continue on with this one. I didn't even make it into the first page. I just opened up the first page and seen that there was enough dialogue there to fill 2 pages in a novel, to be honest, and that's not comic booking to me. Do I respect it? Yes, I do. But, beyond everything else, this team doesn't do it for me at all, so I don't think I'm going to be continuing on with New Mutants. I'll be reading the cliff notes on that one. Basket Full of Heads from Hill House Comics, Joe Hill. Number 2, killed it. Love this book. We finally got to see some axe swinging, but there's not a lot of dialogue at all. It's told wonderfully. I think it's true horror comicking, and I fucking love it. Leo Mack's art, Dave Stewart's colors, beautiful. Definitely sticking with Basket Full of Heads. Sandman Universe, John Constantine Hellblazer. This is now a Black Label thing, no longer Vertigo. So, well, I went through it. I'm lost. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very lost. But at the same time, to be fair, I don't read Constantine ever. So I didn't know what I was getting into, but yeah. So I'm gonna maybe try another issue. I want to read a Constantine book. I want to read more Sandman Universe stuff, but I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna be getting my Constantine out of Justice League Dark when I finally get caught up with that. Hey, look at that perfectly rounded, non-planned transition. Justice League Dark number 17. I don't know why I stopped reading this book. I still buy it. Still collect it. I think I fell off issue number 10 or something like that. But it's not that I wasn't enjoying it. It was just an arc that kind of lost me for a second, and then I just kind of never made my way back to it for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but that's what it is. Martian Manhunter number 10 of 12. I'm gonna read it all when it's done. I'd hope maybe I'd do a 2-part trade negotiation on it or something. I'm not sure, but I'm very interested with this. I've been buying all these issues, so I plan on reading them eventually. Ooh, I just realized this is Martian Mindhunter. Fight Club 3, issue number... what is this? 11. Yeah, almost over here. Chuck Palahniuk and Cameron Stewart are very confusing. This is another one of those things. I read the first few issues, and with this one I was completely just lost. 100% lost. None of this made any sense to me. The only thing I recognized was Darla and her sluttiness. But beyond all that, I don't understand the painting and the dog and anything else at all. So I'm hoping that if I were to go through and read all of this in bulk, maybe I can get a trade negotiation out of it and a proper explanation, or maybe some understanding myself. I don't know. But I don't really see a whole lot of chatter about this book for me to get anything or any insight from anyone else. So, I don't know. It's Chuck Palahniuk, so it's going to be pretty mind-melting. Second Coming, number 5. I believe this is the end of first arc, and if that's the case, it's time for me to crack this open. I was very, very interested in in this series when it was coming out, and it arrived late to the shop, and it didn't become relevant for me to talk about on the podcast, so therefore it didn't become a priority for me to read, because it's hard for me to read books that I'm not going to talk about that week. So, unfortunately, it just kind of fell off the radar, as far as, the scheduling for me to read it. But I do have all of the issues, and I do have every intention on picking it up, because it has been recommended and praised highly by those that have read it that, yeah, know my way of thinking, that's for sure. Seems like a Brian book. Rick and Morty, number, 56. So, Kyle Starks' 60-issue arc. The arc of Kyle Starks' 60-issue. I fucking ruined it. God damn it. I thought I had something there. I almost wrote a Rick and Morty Kyle Stark jingle. Alright, so that didn't happen. But this number 56 did. So go out, get you some of that. I read Rick and Morty every once in a while. I try to collect as many issues as possible. Just because, I do enjoy Rick and Morty. But, yeah, the comics, I don't know. That sounded terrible. They're just not a priority, it's very much Rick and Morty, I don't know how to explain it. You want a Rick and Morty story that hasn't been shown on TV, then open up this comic. It's very true to the characters, the writing, the humor, all of it, so, bam. And, that does it. That does it for honorable mentions, what do you know? So, kind of a thin stack on that end as well. Good stuff, so not all of it is stuff I'm reading. Some of it I pick up just because, but yeah, I've already explained all that. Those are honorable mentions. Let's get into the wall books. The wall books, this is the stuff that I pick up strictly because of the covers. I like to decorate Studio Cerebro here with a lot of comic book art. I do appreciate the covers just as much as the story and the interiors. A lot of times the covers, I say don't judge a book by its cover. Well, that's not the case in comics sometimes. Most of the time. A lot of times people pick up books just because they're badass covers. So, without further ado, I've dedicated? Too much coffee. Tone it down on the coffee. I've dedicated a segment to such instances I call wall books. So, Scream, Curse of Carnage. There is an Art Germ variant on this. Art Germ killed it on this cover. I dig it. I did attempt to read the book, but I realized that I still don't care about this character. I couldn't get interested. It has nothing to do with the creative team at all. It was still cool interiors. There's nothing wrong with the writing. And from what I understand, I missed a pretty badass ending, but regardless, you still got my money, and I get to appreciate a cover. So, I wish Marvel would do more, kind of trade dress free, if you will. I don't want to say virginized or whatever, like DC, but, a little less trade dress, and make these a little more wall bookable. But, yeah, still, this cover's done well enough, and the trade dress is placed well enough to where it could still easily look purty on my wall. Fuck, this looks good. Come on. And then, yes, a book that I've already touched on. It's about time that we get the Zach foil cover. Mastodon. Mighty Morphin motherfucking Power Rangers. This is great. I have all of the foil Power Rangers variants. I'm proud to say that. It wasn't a goal that I'd set out for myself. It just found that it just kept happening, and they were too good to not spend the extra money on every week. Normally I do buy 2 copies of the Power Rangers books when these foil covers come out. And I'm still waiting on that cover A because I really do want to read the book. I am very interested, but I'm not fucking touching this. I'm not getting my fingerprints on one of my most anticipated covers of the year. He's not necessarily the last Power Ranger to be done, I don't think, but fuck, it's taken long enough to get a Zach cover. Jeez, this is good. I dig it. So those be the wall books. Couple of books getting hung up this week. So yeah, that does it for all of that. I want to talk a little bit about my most recommended books of the week, my top acknowledgements, my most praised. I don't want to say my books of the week, but at the same time, I guess when you really break it down, these are kind of the books of the week. You got 3 categories here. Well, on the topic of covers, we're going to talk about the cover of the week, and it is obviously Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Zack cover, because, pretty, man. Pretty. I mean, I've just been waiting so long for this cover. Yes, there were some bangers of covers. The Art Germ Scream cover's amazing, and even just beyond the wall books, there were some great covers. I mean, off the top of my head, the fucking Fight Club 3 cover's badass. Is this a acetate? Yeah, I think the Justice League Dark cover, yeah, it's an acetate cover. That's really, really good. So, yes, it's fucking great shelf appeal, if you will. Yeah, this is a good week for covers. Let's talk about interiors now. This one was kind of tough for me, because I don't think anything fell short interior art-wise, and I don't know if anything really stood out. I mean, you've got your obvious picks. I feel like every time Detective Comics comes up, Doug Mankey's art is easily in the running for interiors of the week. And Simon Krasinski, same situation. His art is keeping me on Fallen Angels for sure. So I guess it would have to come between those two. In case you haven't noticed, I haven't pre-thought out the art. I've been trying to decide, hoping that the answer would just come to me naturally. By the time it came to this point, clearly didn't happen. You know what? I think I'm going to have the first ever, because it's my fucking show, my fucking rules, first ever tie between Fallen Angels and Detective Comics for interiors of the week. And it's just Mankey and Krasinski. Good on you. You guys can share the participation trophy. But yeah, you read both the books. Bam. How's that for a recommendation? Yeah. But my overall story of the week, yes, there was the majority of these were so good. I mean, Venom was amazing. Killadelphia was poetic. Avengers was the surprise of the week. Detective Comics, duh. Batman Beyond, duh. X-Force, I'm very grateful for, but that leaves really just one left from the overviews, and that's Shazam. I still believe that this book is just fucking top-notch Shazam. I never thought that I would be so into this character. And no, it's not the movie that got me into this character. By the time the movie came out, I think there were 5 issues out already. And being that this is only number 8, it gives you an idea of how delayed this book has been. Because that movie is long out. But, yeah, no, I feel like Jeff Johns he really kind of mapped out the script. At least for a sequel to Shazam, that's for damn sure. I think this is just a perfect comic book on all levels. Everything from art and beyond. I mean, yeah, the overall isn't just about story. It's just about the most recommended book of the week. So that goes to Shazam. So good on you. I don't care how late you are. It's told well enough to where you don't miss a beat. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And you know what? That wraps it up. That's what I got to talk about, y'all. There was some great stuff this week. Some great stuff. I hope you got some reading done while you were stuffing your face. And, yeah, I would like to remind you to support this podcast. You do so by becoming a patron. Be a patron, and, good things happen. Several tiers to choose from, starting at just $1 for $1. Donate $1 a month. $1 a month. Send you stickers and exclusive content now. See, this is the cool thing about Patreon. I've got exclusive content that I'm loading up that only the patrons can get. And, it's a lot of time it's just early stuff. And at this point, with the way the recording schedule is going, there's going to be a bunch of stuff that you may not hear for free for 2 or 3 weeks after it's recorded. Just because, I don't want to break the schedule I have right now and overload you with weekly episodes. So, yeah. There's some incentive to become a patron. And beyond all that, you get my appreciation for sure. I really do. It means the world to this podcast. The more patrons we can get, the more content I'm able to produce, and the higher quality that content can be. And I'm proud to say that the quality of the content is, or at least the guests for that matter, I'm so grateful for. If you don't have the extra scratch to get together, I get that. I totally get that. Life is fucking expensive. But I do appreciate your time just as much, and leaving reviews on Apple Podcasts, 5-star reviews, do amazing things for this show. Please leave those reviews. And by doing so, it helps, boost up the podcast and the rankings and whatnot. So, yeah, and then just, good things happen from there. Beyond all of that, there's also Podchaser. Podchaser, you have the ability, podchaser.com, you have the ability to rate and comment. Jeez, spit it out, Brian. Each individual show. So if you have all that type of time, just see what Podchaser's about. I could go on and explain what it is. You're going to have to see for yourself, because it is unique and badass. It's badass, especially if you're a podcast enthusiast. You got to get on it. And I have to thank NSC Live TV for getting on board with this show. Yeah, nsclivetv.com, No Signal Comics. You slurs better get on it. If you guys are looking to buy comics of all ages, they the best in live action comics, man. It's amazing. And now they're starting to branch out with the podcasts, and then there's not just auctions and whatnot. There's so much more than all of that. It's all things comics. There's links to other distributor affiliates that they have, and all of the good deals that go on and all that. So yes, you're gonna get on this website, and you're just bombarded with so much different content, charity events and stuff. So if you're feeling charitable and want to keep it in the world of comics, oh man, get your heart all warmed up on nsclivetv.com. So nerds, slurds, that does it. It's been a podcast. You read responsibly. Cheers, fuckers.